My wife makes tiny dinners and I'm starving. My wife and I are both 32, married 5 months ago. Since we moved in together, every single night has been the same routine. She makes these elaborate, tiny gourmet meals that look like they belong in a magazine. I'm talking 30 grams of chicken breast on maybe 10 leaves of butter lettuce arranged in this perfect spiral with exactly 3 cherry tomatoes and a drizzle of balsamic reduction. It's beautiful. It's also nowhere near enough food. I'm 230 pounds and work construction. I'm lifting materials, climbing, scaffolding, sweating through my shirts by noon. When I finish her dinners, I'm still genuinely hungry. Not peckish, hungry. The first week, I thought maybe she was still adjusting to cooking for 2 people. We dated long distance before getting married, so she'd never really cooked for me regularly. Week 2, I gently brought it up. I tried to be nice about it. Said something like, "Hey babe, this is delicious, but I think I might need slightly bigger portions for my job." Her face just dropped. She got this 1,000-yard stare and went completely silent for like 2 minutes. Then she started spiraling, talking about how she can't even make her husband a proper dinner, how she's failing at being a wife, how she's incompetent at the most basic things. I immediately backtracked, told her it was totally fine, that I just eat too much, that her cooking is perfect. Tried being overwhelmingly positive. She cried for an hour that night. The next evening, same exact portion size, maybe even smaller. I tried the communication route 3 more times over the next few weeks. Each time ended the same way, her crying, me feeling like garbage, and absolutely nothing changing about the portions. So, I gave up on talking about it and just tried to power through. Eat what she made, go to bed hungry, wake up starving. I lost 7 pounds in the first month. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., with my stomach growling so loud it would actually wake her up. I started getting lightheaded at work by mid-afternoon. That's when I came up with my system. On my way home from work, I'd swing by whatever fast food place was convenient. Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's. I wasn't picky. I'd get a double cheeseburger or a chicken sandwich, eat it in my truck in the parking lot, and drive the rest of the way home. I'd walk in the door. She'd have her tiny masterpiece waiting. Maybe some quinoa with roasted vegetables arranged in color-coordinated sections, or homemade mac and cheese in this tiny ramekin that would barely feed a child. I'd sit down, eat every bite, compliment her cooking enthusiastically, and actually mean it because the food genuinely tasted good. She'd beam with pride. I'd feel full because of my secret burger. Win-win. I'd dispose of the wrappers in the outdoor trash when I took the garbage out. Sometimes I'd even stop at a gas station dumpster on my way home just to be extra careful. This went on for 3 months. Honestly, it was working perfectly. She was happy thinking she was taking care of me. I was actually getting enough food, and there was zero conflict. I figured what she didn't know couldn't hurt her. 2 days ago, I was sitting in the Wendy's drive-thru line, windows down, because my AC was acting up. I ordered my usual double stack, medium fries, and was waiting to pull forward when I heard someone calling my name. My mother-in-law was walking out of the restaurant carrying a bag. She came right over to my truck, all smiles, asked how I was doing and what I was up to. I panicked a little and tried to play it off, said something like, "Hey, do me a favor and don't mention you saw me here. Your daughter might take it the wrong way," with a laugh. She laughed too, said, "Your secret's safe with me," and walked to her car. I should have known better. I got home 20 minutes later with my usual routine. Burger already eaten, wrappers already in a gas station, trash can 2 miles back. Walked in expecting to see her plating up dinner. Instead, she was standing in the kitchen, arms crossed, staring at me with this expression I'd never seen before. "I know about the fast food," she said calmly. Too calmly. "I've known since week 2. My mom didn't accidentally see you." I asked her to confirm what I already knew. She walked to the counter and picked up a small box. "So I've been adjusting the portions every week, seeing how far you'd go with the lying." She opened the box, revealing dozens of my fast food receipts she'd apparently been collecting. "The question is, what else are you lying about?" And that's when she pulled out the second thing from the box. A positive pregnancy test that wasn't hers. I just stood there, frozen, like my brain completely shut down for a second. The pregnancy test in her hand looked familiar, and then it hit me. 3 weeks ago, we'd hosted this little get-together at our place. My coworker Jake and his girlfriend came over, and at some point during the night, she'd mentioned feeling weird and asked to use our bathroom. I didn't think much of it then, but I remembered the next morning finding a pregnancy test wrapper in the bathroom trash when I was cleaning up. I'd thrown it out without really thinking about it. "That's not what you think," I said, and my voice came out way shakier than I wanted. "That test, I think it's from Jake's girlfriend. Remember that party we had? She used our bathroom." My wife just laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was this cold, bitter sound. "Of course you have an explanation ready. You've been lying to my face every single day for months. You sat at our table, ate the food I made, told me it was perfect, and then went and stuffed your face with garbage behind my back." I wasn't lying about your food being good, I said. It is good. I just needed more of it. Then why didn't you just tell me that? She was getting louder now, her face turning red. Why did you have to sneak around like I'm some kind of monster? Because every time I tried to bring it up, you'd spiral, I said, and I could feel myself getting defensive. You'd cry for hours and talk about being a failure. What was I supposed to do? She slammed the box down on the counter. So instead you decided to lie, to treat me like I'm too fragile to handle the truth. And now you expect me to believe that this test just magically appeared in our house from some party? Call Jake right now, I said. I'll prove it. But she just shook her head. Pack a bag. I need you to leave. Tonight. Are you serious? Do I look like I'm joking? Her eyes were filling with tears now, but her jaw was set. You've been lying to me for months. I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know if I can trust anything you say. I tried to argue, tried to explain again, but she wouldn't hear it. She just kept saying, leave. Please just leave. So I packed a bag, threw some clothes in my old duffel, grabbed my toothbrush and walked out to my truck. I sat in the driveway for a few minutes, kind of hoping she'd come out and say we could talk about this, but she didn't. I drove to my brother's apartment across town. He opened the door in his boxers, looking half asleep. Dude, it's like 10 at night. What's going on? I told him everything. The tiny dinners, the fast food, the pregnancy test. He listened, nodding along, and when I finished, he just said, man, that's rough. But you did kind of lie to her for 3 months straight. I know, I said. I know I messed up, but that pregnancy test isn't mine. I need to prove it. I pulled out my phone and called Jake. It rang 4 times before he picked up, sounding groggy. Hey man, what's up? This is gonna sound weird, I said. But that party we had 3 weeks ago. Your girlfriend used our bathroom, right? Yeah? Why? Did she take a pregnancy test while she was there? There was a long pause. Dude, why are you asking me that? Just answer the question, please. It's important. Another pause. Yeah, she did. She was freaking out because her period was late. Test came back positive. Why do you need to know this? Relief washed over me. Can you have her call my wife? Or text her? Something? My wife found the test and thinks it's from someone I'm seeing. Oh shit, Jake said. Yeah, man, I'll have her reach out. But actually, wait, she kept that test. She didn't leave it at your place. She threw it away at our apartment that night. My stomach dropped. What? Yeah, she was holding on to it when we left. I remember because she was clutching it in her hand the whole drive home. I thanked him and hung up. My brother was watching me from the couch. That didn't sound good. It's not from his girlfriend, I said quietly. She kept her test. So where did this one come from? The next morning, I couldn't focus at all. I kept replaying everything in my head. If the test wasn't from Jake's girlfriend, then whose was it? And where did it come from? I tried calling my wife like 5 times, but every call went straight to voicemail. Around lunch, my phone started blowing up. Not from my wife, but from our friends. Well, ex-friends, apparently. 3 different couples had blocked me on social media. I called one of them, Greg, from a different number. He actually picked up. Why are you calling me? He said. Why did you block me? Seriously? Your wife told everyone what you did? Cheating on her after 5 months of marriage? That's low, man. I didn't cheat on anyone, I said. That test isn't from anyone I'm seeing. I don't even know where it came from. Right, just like you didn't lie about being satisfied with her cooking for 3 months? He hung up. I sat in my truck in the work parking lot, just staring at my phone. My wife had already convicted me in the court of public opinion. She'd called her mom, her sister, our friends, and none of them wanted to hear my side. Back at the site, my foreman noticed I was off. You good? He asked. Not really, I said. Wife kicked me out last night. He winced. That's rough. What happened? I gave him the short version. The dinners, the fast food, the pregnancy test. He listened, nodding along. Wait, he said when I finished. A pregnancy test? What'd it look like? I don't know. Just a regular one. Why? My wife left one in my truck last week, he said. She came by to bring me lunch, and she'd been feeling sick that morning, so she took one in the parking lot. Came back positive. She was so excited she just shoved it in her purse, but I wonder if she dropped it or something. I felt this spark of hope. When was this? Like 2 weeks ago? Maybe 3? He scratched his head. Why? My wife borrowed my truck 2 weeks ago, I said. She needed to pick up something big from the store and her car wouldn't fit it. What if your wife dropped the test near my truck and it somehow got inside? The foreman pulled out his phone. Let me call her. I waited while he talked to his wife, pacing back and forth. After a few minutes, he hung up. She says she doesn't remember dropping it, but it's definitely possible. She was juggling a lot that day. She'll call your wife and explain. Thank you, I said. Seriously, thank you. But when I drove home that evening, my stuff was in bags on the porch. The locks had been changed. I tried the door, then knocked, then basically pounded on it. My wife's sister opened it, looking at me like I was trash. She doesn't want to see you. I can explain the test, I said. My foreman's wife is going to call her. She dropped it. That's where it came from. Right, and I'm sure you coached this woman to lie for you too. She started closing the door. Can I at least talk to her? She's upstairs throwing up. She's been sick all day because of the stress you put her through. She's barely eating. The door closed in my face. I stood there for a second, then grabbed my bags and threw them in the truck. My phone rang. It was my mother-in-law. "You need to leave her alone," she said when I answered. "She's lost 8 pounds in 5 days. She can't keep anything down. Whatever you did, you need to own up to it or just go." "I didn't do anything," I said. "That test isn't from an affair. Your daughter borrowed my truck and my foreman's wife had dropped her test near it. That's it. That's the whole story. So you just happened to find a convenient explanation." Her voice was cold. "Just like you had a convenient system for lying about the food." "I messed up with the food," I said. "I know I did, but I'm not lying about the test." She hung up. I went back to my brother's place. He had beer waiting. "This is turning into a real shit show, huh?" "I don't know what to do," I said. "She won't listen. No one will listen. Did you try showing her proof? Like phone records or something?" I hadn't thought of that. I pulled out my laptop and started going through everything. My phone records for the last 3 months. My credit card statements. Even the GPS history from my truck's built-in system. All of it showed the same pattern. Work, home, fast food places. Nothing suspicious. No hotels. No weird charges. No calls or texts to numbers my wife wouldn't recognize. I printed everything out, put it in a folder, and drove back to the house the next morning. I left it on the porch with a note. "Please, just look at this. I know I lied about the food and I'm sorry, but I'm not lying about the test. Here's proof." 2 hours later, I got a text. "I threw your folder away. Stop harassing me." I felt like I'd been punched. She wouldn't even look at it. She'd already decided I was guilty, and nothing I said or did was going to change her mind. My brother tried to be supportive, but even he seemed a little skeptical. "I mean, it does look bad," he said one night. "The lying about the food, and then this test shows up. I believe you, but I can see why she doesn't." "So, what am I supposed to do?" I asked. "Just give up?" "I don't know, man. Maybe give her some space. Let her cool down." But I didn't want to give her space. I wanted to fix this. I wanted her to understand that I wasn't cheating, that the test was just this weird coincidence. But she wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't see me, wouldn't even look at the evidence I'd gathered. At work, I kept making mistakes. Measured wrong, cut wrong, nearly dropped a sheet of drywall on someone's head. My foreman pulled me aside. "Take a few days off," he said. "Get your head right. You're gonna hurt yourself or someone else." I didn't want to take time off. I needed the distraction. But he wasn't really giving me a choice. So I spent the next few days at my brother's apartment, just kind of existing, not sleeping, barely eating. I'd lost weight too. My clothes were hanging off me. I looked like hell. Then something shifted. My wife's best friend from college, Jessica, came to stay with her for support. They'd been friends for years, super close. And apparently, after hearing the whole story, Jessica started asking questions. My wife called me, first time in 3 weeks. "Jessica wants to meet you. She wants to hear your side." "Okay," I said. "When?" "Tomorrow. Coffee shop on 3rd Street, 2 o'clock. I got there early, ordered a coffee I didn't drink, and waited. Jessica showed up right at 2, looking serious. She sat down across from me. "Tell me everything," she said, "from the beginning." So I did. The tiny dinners, my job, how hungry I was. The fast food system. The mother-in-law catching me. The pregnancy test. How I thought it was from Jake's girlfriend, but it wasn't. How my foreman's wife probably dropped it. I showed her all the evidence I'd compiled. The phone records, the credit card statements, the GPS data. She looked through everything carefully. "This doesn't show any suspicious activity," she said finally. "I know, because there isn't any. But you did lie to her, for months." "I did," I said. "And I know that was wrong. I was just trying to avoid conflict. But I see now that it was worse than just being honest." Jessica leaned back in her chair. "Can I ask you something? Why do you think she's so unwilling to believe you?" "I don't know. Because I lied about the food? Maybe. Or maybe it's because she's dealing with her own stuff and projecting it onto you." She paused. "Has she told you about her eating disorder?" I felt cold. "What eating disorder?" "She's been in therapy since she was 16. She struggled really bad in high school and college. Those tiny portions, that's not just her cooking style. That's her restricting." Everything clicked into place. The way she'd reacted when I mentioned the portions. The spiral. The obsession with making these perfect, beautiful, tiny meals. "I didn't know," I said quietly. "She never told me. I think she thought she had it under control, but clearly, she doesn't." Jessica stood up. "I'll talk to her, but you need to understand. She's not just mad about the lying. She's scared. Of herself, of losing control, of everything." That evening, my wife called again. "Jessica, talk to me. She thinks I'm overreacting." "Are you?" I asked carefully. There was a long silence. "The pregnancy test probably wasn't from an affair. I ran into your foreman's wife at the grocery store yesterday. She explained everything, showed me photos from that day at the construction site." Relief flooded through me. "So you believe me?" "About the test. Yeah, but you still lied to me for months. About something so basic. How am I supposed to trust you about anything else?" "I don't know," I said honestly, "but I want to figure it out. Can we meet? Just talk?" "Coffee shop. Tomorrow. Same place. Same time." I got there early again. She showed up looking tired, thinner than I'd ever seen her. We sat down across from each other, neither of us knowing where to start. "I'm sorry I lied," I said finally. "I should have been more direct. I should have pushed through the uncomfortable conversations instead of sneaking around." I'm sorry I set you up, she said quietly. The pregnancy test thing. I knew it probably wasn't from an affair, but I wanted to hurt you because you hurt me. By eating fast food? By lying? By making me feel like I couldn't trust my own instincts. She looked down at her hands. I've been in therapy since I was 16 for an eating disorder. I thought I had it under control, but when we got married and I started cooking for you, all these old patterns came back. The measuring, the control, the fear of making too much food. You never told me, I said. I was ashamed. I thought I'd worked through it. She looked up at me, eyes red. And when you said the portions were too small, it felt like proof that I was failing. So I made them smaller and smaller to punish myself. And then I found out you were getting food somewhere else, and it felt like proof that I wasn't enough. That's not true, I said. I was just hungry. It wasn't about you or your cooking. I know that now. But in the moment, all I could think was that I wasn't good enough to feed my own husband. We sat there for a while just looking at each other. Finally, I said, "Do you want to try couples therapy? Like, actually try to work through this?" She nodded slowly. "Yeah, but I need to keep seeing my own therapist too, for the food stuff. Whatever you need," I said. "And I need you to be honest, even when it's hard, even when you think it might upset me. I will, I promise." It wasn't fixed, not by a long shot, but it felt like maybe we could start putting things back together. I moved back in, but into the guest room. We both agreed we needed to rebuild trust before sharing a bed again. It felt weird, living in the same house but sleeping in different rooms, like we were roommates going through a trial period. Our first therapy session was awkward as hell. The counselor, this older woman named Dr. Brennan, didn't waste any time. "So you lied about food, and you staged a fake affair accusation. That's where we're starting?" "Yeah," I said. "Pretty much," my wife said at the same time. Dr. Brennan nodded like she'd heard it all before. "Let's talk about patterns. You," she pointed at me, "avoid conflict by hiding things. You," she pointed at my wife, "create tests to prove your fears are valid. Both of you are terrible at direct communication. Sound about right?" We both kind of nodded. "Good. Now we know what we're working with." Over the next few weeks, Dr. Brennan basically made us practice having uncomfortable conversations. She'd give us scenarios. "Your wife makes a tiny dinner again. What do you do?" Or, "Your husband comes home late without texting. How do you respond?" At first, we sucked at it. I'd still try to soften everything, make it less confrontational. My wife would jump to worst-case scenarios. But slowly, we started getting better. Started being more direct without being cruel. Started asking questions instead of making assumptions. At home, my wife was cooking again. The portions were still pretty small, but I could tell she was trying. One night, she made chicken and rice, and the serving was maybe 30% bigger than before. Still not enough for me, but progress. I finished eating and sat there for a second, trying to figure out how to bring it up. Finally, I just said, "This was really good. I'm still a little hungry though. Is it okay if I make myself a sandwich?" Her face tightened, and I could see her starting to spiral. But then she took a breath, like Dr. Brennan had taught us. "Yeah, that's fine. I'm working on the portions. It's just hard." "I know," I said, "and I appreciate you trying, but I don't want you to stress about it. I can always add stuff, like a side salad or something." She nodded, but I could see tears forming. "I feel like such a failure." "You're not," I said. "You're dealing with something really difficult, but we're figuring it out together, right?" "Right," she said quietly. "My mother-in-law called me a few days later. I owe you an apology. I turned people against you without hearing your side. That wasn't fair." "It's okay," I said, even though it kind of wasn't. "I'm calling our friends, explaining what really happened. Most of them feel terrible. Most of them did reach out." Greg sent this long text about how he'd been too quick to judge. A few other couples apologized, wanted to grab dinner and catch up. But 2 couples, people we'd been really close with, didn't respond, just kept us blocked. It stung, honestly, realizing that some friendships weren't strong enough to survive misunderstanding. One night, about 2 months into therapy, my wife had a setback. I came home exhausted from work, and she'd made this tiny portion of pasta, like maybe enough for a kid's meal. I looked at it, looked at her, and I could see she knew. She'd slipped back into old patterns. "Hey," I said carefully, "I'm really hungry tonight. How about we order pizza instead? We can save this for your lunch tomorrow." She just broke down crying, right there in the kitchen. "I'm so scared of gaining weight. I've been measuring myself every day, multiple times a day. I'm obsessed again and I don't know how to stop." I didn't know what to say, so I just held her while she cried. When she calmed down a little, I said, "Maybe you should talk to your therapist about increasing your sessions, or seeing a nutritionist or something." She nodded against my shoulder. "Yeah, I think I need more help." Her therapist bumped her up to twice a week, also referred her to a nutritionist who specialized in eating disorder recovery. It was a lot. Expensive too, but necessary. Around the same time, I started my own individual therapy, because Dr. Brennan had pointed out that I didn't just avoid conflict with my wife, I avoided it with everyone. My boss, my family, my friends. I'd rather hide and sneak around than have a difficult conversation, and that wasn't healthy. My therapist, this guy named Paul, was super direct. "Why do you think you do that? Avoid conflict? I don't know. I just hate making people upset. So you'd rather lie than risk someone being temporarily uncomfortable. When you put it like that, it sounds really bad. It is really bad, Paul said, because eventually the lying creates way worse problems than the truth would have. He was right, obviously. The fast food thing had been my attempt to avoid conflict, and it had nearly destroyed my marriage. I needed to learn how to be direct, even when it was uncomfortable. 3 months into therapy, we had our first real test. I came home exhausted, and my wife had made another tiny portion. We'd been doing better, but this was noticeably smaller than usual. Old me would have eaten it, said nothing, maybe grabbed snacks later, but I was trying to be different. Hey, I said, sitting down at the table. This looks great, but I need more food tonight. I'm really hungry. I watched her face, waiting for the spiral, but instead, she took a breath. Okay, what do you want to add? I don't know. Can I make some rice or something? Yeah, I'll help. It was such a small thing, but it felt huge. We'd actually communicated about it and solved the problem together instead of spiraling or hiding. After dinner, while we were cleaning up, she said, making bigger portions makes me feel out of control, like I'm going to gain 100 pounds overnight. I know it's not rational, but that's how it feels. What if we compromise? I said. You make what feels comfortable for you, and I add my own sides. That way you're not stressed about the portions, but I'm getting enough food. She thought about it. That could work. And I can still make you nice meals. Just, in amounts that don't make me panic. Exactly. It wasn't perfect. She still struggled. I still had moments where I wanted to avoid being direct, but we were both working on it. I gained back the weight I'd lost. She stabilized at a healthier relationship with food, though her nutritionist said she'd probably always have to be mindful of her portions and eating patterns. But we were figuring it out, together. One uncomfortable conversation at a time.